Hi again. We're going to talk about the inverted pyramid today. Excuse me. The inverted pyramid is a way that journalists tell stories. It's one way journalists tell stories. It's a very simple way to tell a story, so it's really good when a reporter is on deadline. So the other thing to remember is if you're going into PR, a good press release uses the inverted pyramid style. So the inverted pyramid, the easiest way to look at it is it's a simple way to tell a story. It's very simple to write, simple to edit, simple to read. So it's great for journalism. The main thing to know about the inverted pyramid is that the story gives the readers the most important facts first. The most important facts come first, the least important facts come last. Very simple. As opposed to a narrative story that winds its way through the story and maybe gives some important information in the middle or even at the end. Not the inverted pyramid. The inverted pyramid gives the most important fact first. The lead, remember, one of the things you're going to learn today is, or this week, is the lead. The lead is the first paragraph of a story, the introduction. The lead in an inverted pyramid story always contains the who, what, when, and where. The who, what, when, and where. Remember, we learned who, what, when, and where last week. Now, there's certain times where you can leave out the where, but that's rare. And sometimes the lead contains the why and the how, or the why or the how. In an inverted pyramid story, the most important facts go at the beginning, the least important facts go at the end. So, some good things about the inverted pyramid. One is it's easy for writers, because if you're on deadline, it's hard to write a narrative story that winds its way around the story. It's easy to write most important to least important. You just start at the top and go from there. It's easy for readers because if they're in a hurry, all they have to do is read the first few paragraphs and then they get everything they need. If they really want to read the rest of the story, they can, but they don't have to, and they're not going to miss anything important. And it's easy for editors. If editors are on deadline and they have to cut the story, they can just cut it from the bottom. Very easy. If a story is not written in inverted pyramid, you cannot just cut it from the bottom. But inverted pyramid, you can cut it from the bottom. So it's a really great way to tell stories. Okay, caution. This is not the only way to tell to write a news article. It's not the most interesting way to write a news article. It is the easiest way to write a news article, and that's why I want you to learn it. It's still used. It's used all the time. It's used by TV, by PR people, by news reporters. So it's very important to know how to tell a story using an inverted pyramid. But it's not the only way. But I want you to write this way for now. Once you get good at it, you can break the rules. Now, when you're reading the paper, I want you to look for inverted pyramid stories. Try to find things with summary leads that have the who, what, when, where in the lead. And then I want you to also look for stories that are told most important to least important. So how do you write an inverted pyramid story? You start with the lead. The lead of an inverted pyramid story summarizes. It summarizes the story. It tells what happened, when it happened, and where it happened. What happened, when, and where. That's it. A lead is one sentence, very quick, concise, not too long. Tell people what happened, when, and where. After the lead, you give the readers the pertinent information in descending order of importance. Now, it's not just a list of facts. I repeat, it's not just a list of facts. You're going to include quotes, details, statistics, and explanation. You're also going to use transitions, like the words but and, or also, between topics and between speakers. You always want to have a transition between speakers. And of course you want to follow news style. There was a PDF on news style, so I want you to learn that and know that. And of course you have to follow AP style as well. One thing to remember when you're writing a story is to rewrite. Always edit. It's very important that you not hand in your first draft. It's, you know, you have to have more pride in yourself than that. You want to have pride in your work. You don't want to hand in your first draft. So what are you going to do as you rewrite? You're going to look for holes. A hole is something that's left out. For instance, maybe there was a question that wasn't asked. Maybe there's a quote that isn't there that needs to be. Maybe there's a fact missing or an explanation is missing. So look for holes. You might have to do some more reporting when you're rewriting. Also, when you're rewriting, you always want to check grammar, punctuation, style, and spelling. You never want to hand in anything that's not checked. It should be good. It should all look good. Now, a good thing to do is to print out your work and read it before handing it in, because you're going to miss a lot of things on screen that you won't miss on paper. The other thing you can do is read it aloud, and if you stop, that probably means something's wrong. If it doesn't sound right, it's probably something wrong. So remember to edit your work. Don't turn in your first draft. Some tips. Well, when you're writing the lead, get right to the point. Don't waste words. Get right to the point. This is not an essay or a research paper where you've got to write a whole paragraph. That's an introduction, that's a whole paragraph. It's not. Okay? Just get right to the point. One sentence, tell me what happened. What happened, when, and where. It's also really important to remember, don't tell readers what they already know. It's news. It should be new. Don't tell readers what they already know. For instance, let's say you were going to write a story on this class. You would just start talking about the class. Don't give me the following. Classes have begun. Okay, everybody knows classes have begun. That's not news. So don't tell people that. Or another one that people might write is, there are many classes at the University of Northern Colorado. Everybody knows that. You don't need to tell people that. So get right to the point. Another thing to avoid is the one might think lead. Don't assume what people might think. Just tell me what's new. Just tell me what's new. Okay, so don't assume or generalize. For instance, he's not your typical college student. You know what? There's no real typical college student. Everybody has a different idea of what your typical college student is, so don't use that lead. Don't start with most. Most college students go out every night. That's not true, okay? So don't generalize. Instead, use many or some. Some tips. When you are writing your lead, begin with who or that. People are interested in who did something or what happened. People are interested in that. People are not interested in when and where it happened. So never start with when and where. For instance, don't start your story Thursday in Denver. That's not a good way to start because no one cares when and where it happened. They care what happened and who it happened to. Okay, more tips when you're writing stories. Don't use the words local and area. Don't use the words local and area. For instance, you wouldn't say a local man was killed. Because local is vague. Does local mean he's from Greeley? Does local mean he's from Gilchrist, Eaton? Does local mean he's from LaSalle, or where is he from? Tell me where he's from. Don't be vague. Another word to avoid is area. Don't use the word area. And never write a local Greeley man, because that is just stupid, because it's redundant. Local and Greeley is redundant. So to be correct, you would say a Greeley man was killed, or say wherever he was from. You want to be as specific as possible. Okay, another tip, if you're writing about people who live in Greeley, people cannot be citizens of a city or a state. There are no Greeley citizens. They are residents. So you would say a Colorado resident died Tuesday, not a Colorado citizen, because there's no such thing as a Colorado citizen. A Greeley resident died, not a Greeley citizen. Because you can only be a citizen of a country. Okay? But you didn't know that. If you did, good for you. Okay, now something else about news stories. You do not want to write a conclusion. No conclusions. Please, it's not an essay. It's not a research paper. It's a news story. You don't want to have a conclusion. This is very important, because you don't want to repeat yourself in a news story. So there's no conclusion. Don't write a concluding sentence or paragraph, okay? Just end with the last fact. You can end with a quote or a fact. Ending with a quote is great, as long as the quote doesn't make people confused. But that's a great way to end a story, with a quote. Or you can end it with a fact. The one thing you don't want to do is leave readers guessing. Don't leave readers with questions in their mind. Okay. And, quotes. Okay. A lot of young reporters who aren't experienced, they'll go to write a story and the editor will tell them, you need to get quotes from 2 people. So what they'll do is they'll write the entire story and then they'll throw the quotes at the end. That's not good. Okay? That's not good. You want to weave the quotes throughout the story. Weave the quotes throughout the story. You want to quote, maybe there's a quote in your second paragraph. There could be a quote in your last paragraph. But don't leave them till the end. Quotes help tell the story. What quotes do is, quotes reinforce your points. You're going to make a point, and then you use a quote to reinforce it. So you don't want to leave all that reinforcement till the end. You want to use your quotes where they go logically. For instance, if you are writing a story about a baseball game, and there's a player who did really well, and you talk about that player, then maybe you have a quote about that player in that section. Or you have a quote from that player, talking about how well he or she did. Or let's say you have a story about, I don't know, a debate, and you give a fact from the debate, somebody made this point. Well, then you give a quote to say what that point was. So always put your quotes where they make sense. And I will reiterate this: it is perfectly okay to end a story with a quote. In fact, it's a great way to end a story. Okay, and I think we already learned proper attribution style. So, all right. Hope that is very informative. Please, study this stuff so that you can do well on the stories. Okay, see you next time.